There's no one better to talk to us about Chipolopolo, the Zambian national team, the Copper Bullets, than Aaron Mubanga, Mr. Zambian football. Aaron, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, man, doing good. Excited to talk about Zambia because for me, I think coming into this tournament, yes, Zambia aren't the favorites. They're not one of the big teams, but I think they're one of the most exciting teams coming into the tournament. So I'm really excited to kind of get stuck into to the team and kind of why I think they're one of the most exciting teams. But first of all, kind of I want to ask how what is the mood in the country coming into the tournament? Obviously, it's your first one since I think 2015. It's been a long time since the Copper Bullets have been at the AFCON. What is the mood in the country?
Well, it's there's a lot of excitement because we've been absent from the continental showpiece for 7 years, 8 years or so. So it's like there's a lot of excitement, and so in some sections there's belief that this could again be our year. I don't know what it is about this year. People thinking maybe we could repeat the 2012 success, but yeah, just excitement because we're back at AFCON at least after missing three consecutive tournaments. So there's a lot of excitement and hype around the team.
Yeah, it's been a kind of strange year, I guess, for Zambia in 2023 because you've had these kind of couple brilliant results. I think back to that the Afcon qualifier you played against Cote d'Ivoire, thrashing them 3-0. I know 3-0 maybe wasn't a fair score line because I think Cote d'Ivoire had their chances, but and then you get that 4-2 win against Congo in the World Cup qualifiers, but then at the same time you losing to Niger in the final game in the World Cup qualifiers. Getting thrashed by Kuwait. Obviously, I know that wasn't a full strength Zambia team, but what is kind of going on in terms of this team? Because I never know. Is Zambia looking excellent? Are they looking really bad? What's going on with them?
I think at the moment, are we looking bad? Not really. Are we excellent? Not really. I think we're just part like in the middle. Because sometimes when the boys show up, they really show up. Like against Ivory Coast, majority of us didn't expect that result. We're a bit skeptical. Maybe we'd get a 1-0 win, but then they showed up. I think the first 25, 30 minutes were under a lot of pressure. Ivory Coast did very well, but we held on for 30 minutes without conceding, and then we started scoring, and then we just turned it on. I think there was a lot of good fight from Patson Daga to score the second goal of Fashion Sakala for the own goal, and of course the third goal, brilliant move, ended up with Kings Kangwa getting our third goal. So there are some results that are like, okay, this is us playing very well. Then there's that bizarre loss to Niger, and then there was also a draw with Comoros. So it's been ups and downs, but obviously it's a process. So we understand that we are not at the level that we're supposed to be at, but there's a lot of progress. The coach that has come in, a very experienced Avram Grant. There's a lot of respect from the players because he's coached at the highest level, having coached in the Premier League. So and majority of these players used to watch Chelsea under him, Portsmouth, so they have that respect for him. So there's no one who's going to come in and say no. There's nothing you're going to tell me. What have you done and what not? There's that respect for him. So he has the house in order. So he's able to have that authority and be able to tell the players, okay, do this, do that, and they're able to fall in line and do what they need to do.
Yeah, I want to talk about Avram Grant. I think it's a really interesting appointment from the FA because obviously this tournament, one of the big kind of factors in it is we're seeing less and less European managers. We're seeing more African managers, more kind of homegrown managers, or ones who have kind of gone abroad and come back. But kind of Avram Grant is kind of the opposite because he's come from Europe, but he has real pedigree, like you say, and even pedigree on the continent. Obviously, with Ghana, he took them to the final, took them to a semi-final in 20, I think it was 2015-17. So I want to ask, kind of, you're saying he has the respect of the players. Is there a sense that he's kind of done a good job? Because even prior to his appointment, Zambia not making it to the 2021 and 2019 AFCONs in particular kind of was seen as a real failure, particularly with some people saying this is a bit of a golden generation in terms of particularly at the top of the pitch with Daka, Sakala, Lamek Banda. You kind of reference them, and then obviously for the 2021 AFCON, we also had, Enoch Mwepu, who at the time was looking like one of the best midfielders, on the continent. What is your sense of how Avram Grant has done since coming into the role?
I think for me, I think his run so far has been successful because he's done in 8, 9 months what we failed to do in 7, 8 years. I think we have to give it to him. So I think he's not brought a lot of new things to the team. He just gave them the confidence that they need to go out there and do what they need to do. And of course, he has that respect. So he's able to do things in a different way. Having coached at the highest level, he understands what players need. He understands how to work around formations and how to get the best out of the players. So for me, it's been a success, and so far so good. I think since he came, he's only lost one game. The game against Niger, I think that's his only loss. He made us win all the qualifiers that he played, and we won, I think, three and drawn and drew one. I think so. Yeah. So like, he's done what we failed to do in a long time, and then did it in 8 months. So for me, it's been good. It's been a good run. Obviously, not the topmost football that we've been playing, not the best that was supposed to be, but we've been getting results and we've been getting the job done.
And I want to get into the team itself, but first I want to talk about the player who isn't there that we all know who isn't there. Enoch Mwepu obviously was forced to retire last year after kind of having a heart condition, a suspected heart attack. And he's doing well now. He's kind of more stepping into a bit more coaching, but he must be a huge miss for the national side. What is this sentiment from the players and from the team towards him, because obviously he was such an important part of the team and he's still kind of the same age. It's not like he's retired because he's old. What is the relationship between him and the country and the team now?
There's a lot of respect, and a lot of these players, even those from his same age group, looked a lot up to him because he got to the Premier League. And there are some games, top big games, like the game against Liverpool. He scored that brilliant goal that ended up winning the Brighton's goal of the season. The game against Arsenal, where he scored and assisted in the 2-1 win, where he dominated. And even for me, even while we were at Salzburg, there's some Champions League games. Even though Salzburg would lose to Atletico, to Bayern, he would impose himself on the match at Anfield on his debut in the Champions League. So there's a lot of respect from the younger players, and he was named captain. So like, he was an inspirational figure, and everybody respected him, everybody looked up to him, and it's a huge miss. Frank Himson was just saying recently that when he came to Zambia, he was his roommate in his first camp, and he talked about how he helped him settle and everything. So it's really a huge miss, and for me particularly, because I'm one of the people who've out and out said is easily my favorite player, but the best I've seen as a Zambian, because I never watched Karusha Warrior's early years. I watched him towards
Mm-hmm.
the end of his career, so I'm not privy to some of the things that he did. I've watched them on video, but it's different when you're watching somebody come up and do these things. Like, I watched Enoch come up, become that player, because I followed him a lot as a junior player and everything, until he went to Brighton, and watched all his games at Salzburg. Found a way to watch all his games. So like, there's that difference with obviously the King, who is easily our greatest player we've ever had, King Kalusha Walia. But Enoch was in a league of his own. He would stand up against the very best in the world. It was that special. So it's a really a big miss. Um, every time he played, I had this sentiment. I would tell my friends that if you're a coach, when Enoch is there, you start with him in the team, and then you can put everyone around him. Like, you can go there, you can
Mm-hmm.
even switch their positions. It doesn't matter. But him, give him the position that suits him the most, is going to get you the results. Just tell everybody, get the ball to Enoch, and you know what to do with it. So it's really a huge miss for us. But obviously, life has to go on, and other players have to step in. And I think the likes of Emmanuel Banda, Kings Kangwa, have to step up and carry on.
Yeah, and with Enoch is so impactful as well because, like you said, he right from the start he was seen as the kind of the heir to Koulibaly in many ways. U17, U20, he was the captain at such a young age of the national side was so important, and he was made that step up to playing in Europe. Was looking to fulfill all the potential that we kind of thought he had, and was really looking like that star before everything kind of his career got cut short, which so sadly. Is he still involved with the national team at all? Like, does he ever, what is his kind of relationship with the team now that he's kind of been forced to retire?
I think at the start was just a bit trying to come to terms with what had happened, but now I think
Of course.
there's obviously the usual one-on-one conversations, usually messages with the players. Most of them is close with like Patson, Fashion. They came through the same youth ranks, so there's all just like those personal communications. But personally, I feel like in future he could be the coach that will take us to the World Cup. I have a dream, but hopefully, I hope that that comes to happen because I love Enoch Mwepu. I think he
Yeah,
deserves something good like that to happen to him. Like he coaches, like just some story like that because he didn't get his dream to play for Liverpool.
yeah, and as well as he's such a like a good guy as well,
Yeah,
which we don't always have in football. So yeah,
exactly.
I totally agree. We want him to do the best, and potentially he's now in a great position to become a top coach.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
part of the Brighton setup, and will be have a long kind of run up to being a coach. So hopefully one day we'll be seeing Zambia at the World Cup with Mwepu on the touchline. I want to talk about the players who are there because obviously in Mwepu's absence, there's a big, and this is why I love the Zambia team. As a neutral, maybe you don't like them because of this, but going forward, you're one of the best teams on the continent. There's flair, there's attacking, there's pace, there's movement, everything. But there's a big but. Defensively, we haven't seen the best of Zambia. We haven't seen the best. So, first of all, tell me because we all know Patson Daka at Leicester. Those will know Fashion Sakala, who's in Saudi now, but was at Rangers. But tell us about that combination of those two and Lamek Banda. What makes them such a dangerous trio? Because they seem to perform far better than a lot of these more high profile strikers we see at other countries across Africa. What about those three make them such a dangerous trio?
I think one of the things that makes them dangerous is that they've got a lot of pace. So once a defender misjudges their movement, they're going you can't recover. All three of them have got so much pace to bend. So there's that, and of course the relationship from the youth ranks. Fashion and Patson have played together since I think 2016, under 20 Kosafa, which they won in South Africa. They've played together since then. They've just been together like that. I think even prior to that, I think they had the Rising Star days. There's a bit of come up together. They played against each other in the local league around 2015, 2014, 2015. They also played together, I think, at Inchanga Rangers around 2015. So there's all that relationship outside the pitch, which translates to how they perform on the pitch. And of course, they understand that Zambia may not be the topmost team in Africa, so they always have to work extra harder than the opponent. So there's also that extra drive to do better and everything. So that's what makes them the play the way they play, and obviously players like Patson Daka, who like his movements are just superb. He knows when to go where, when to do what, so you always get you goals. So you will just be hanging around the 18-yard area. When it's time to score, you find a goal. So it's just like that, and of course the fact that, and I feel like them going outside there has improved them as players, and taken them to a different level. So Lamek doing well in Serie A, Fashion doing well in Saudi Arabia after his Rangers run, Patson also at that moment with Leicester, but now back scored I think 4 5 goals in the last 5 6 games. So it's exciting for us going into the tournament with our front line. Although we have got a shaky defense, but our idea is to just outscore the opponent now.
which I absolutely love, and I love that what you're talking about, Patson Daka, because I think it's so underrated. Yes, he's rapid, he's so fast, and he's a great finisher. But what makes him so good is like you said, his intelligence, his movement, his capacity to come short, run in behind. He's such a clever footballer. But tell me a bit more about Lemek Banda, because obviously the other two we are a bit bigger names, they're a bit older. Lamek, only 22, and he's had such kind of such an interesting career. I think he obviously at Zesco in Zambia, but then makes the move to Arsenal Tula in Russia, and then plays a bit in Israel, and now is at Lecce in Italy, and seems to be doing quite well. Tell me a bit more about him and his career.
He was always like one who had a lot of potential. During his under 17 years, the time Patson and Enoch were under 20, in 2016. Lamek Klings and I think Lamek Martin and their crop, they were the under 17. So when the group for Patson was promoted to the under 23, they became the under 20 team because they'd won the under 17 COSAF, I think in Mauritius at that time. I think that was our first under 17 COSAFA win. After that, he was at Inkwazi before going to Zesco United. I think there was even some debate of him going to Mamelodi Sundowns. There were some issues there, which he didn't go to. Then went for trials in Arsenal Tula with Krings Kangwa. So played very well against Red Bull big. I think he did so well, beat the Red Bulls defense, took them to the cleaners, scored a beautiful goal. Aland obviously came in the second half to equalize. It ended 1-1. I think that's the game. That's the friendly that got him signed, because that game he played, he was like a beast. He played well, and after that they both signed. He played some games, even played, I think, in the preliminary rounds of the Champions League, and then but things didn't work out, so he had to go to Israel for a season or two. He did well in Israel, then back. That's how he went to Lecce. Started slow, but he's become now like one of their key players. So also him has got a lot of pace. He's very skillful, but in his areas, I think being a young player and also maybe just like maybe lack of proper guidance at an early age, he would make some certain decisions that like you were not supposed to make those decisions. That's what he was making.
Hmm.
So like he had to grow into the player he is now. Now he's making better decisions. He's getting more goals. He's assisting more. It's just become a very dangerous player now. Every time we are playing, like earlier on, people would survive, like, okay, it's okay if he's not there, we'll survive with this one, this one, this one. But now it's, I think people want him to be there. Every time we're playing, they want him to be there because he'll beat
Hmm.
players for you, he'll get in those crosses, and he'll find a way to score a goal. He can shoot from afar, he's got power in his legs, he can beat players and score from close range. So he's always in and around, and he can also score headers despite his height. So he's turning into a complete player, and he's become a very important player for us. It's good to see.
Yeah, and especially he's so young. I think he's still only 22, so there's so much room for growth, so much room. And this front three, because even Daka and Sakala, they're like what 25, 26. They're not old. We've got years for them to continue to get better and make this really dangerous partnership. Like one of the things we said is, you said Zambia are going to try and outscore everyone they play, and because they've got this exciting attack, but it's also because defensively we're lacking a little bit. Obviously, people who will remember, yeah, the brilliant 2012 team that went on to win it will recognize Topila Sunzu, who scored that winning penalty in the 2012 AFCON, arguably the greatest AFCON kind of story of all time, when you guys went on and won it in 2012. Is such a brilliant, I'm sure you have so many memories of that. But I want to ask, what is the kind of big issues defensively? Why is Zambia able to score so many goals but unable to keep clean sheets? What are the issues at the back?
I think we have a makeshift left back. As a country, I think we've not found a proper left back. The ones that were coming up somehow uh, failed to reach the bar. We had Chilongoshi was brilliant, came up, but some issues. He fell off. Prosper Chiluya had a bit of a shaky 2 3 years, but is now trying to get back to his best because he was the left back for that under 20 team. Richard Patson and Enoch, the one that went to the World Cup and reached the quarterfinals. So I think the round of 16, quarterfinals. Yeah, I think we beat Germany in the round of 16 and lost to Italy in the quarterfinals. Yes, quarterfinals. So yeah, from that team, him trying to get back to his best. But so we had to play Rodrick, who's naturally a winger and a midfielder at left back, so he's not very defensive minded. So sometimes
Mm.
you get caught napping because he's not a natural defender. Um, right back also, we've had a few issues. We've not had permanent right back, although Benedict Kepe seems to have made it his own of late, and he's been doing well. The centre backs also, we've not had like a pairing that we had of Sunzu and Ichani Monde in 2012, like that has been together for a long time. So Frank looks to be stable in there, but who's going to partner him? Is it the experience of Topila Sunzu or the hard work of your Dominic Chanda? So those are the issues that we have. We don't have like a proper set at the back, left backs, center backs, and right back. So those are the kind of issues that we have, and also the fact that we've not had a proper defensive midfielder since Nathan Sinkala. Like we've not had a definite defensive midfielder since then. So I think Calvin Kapumbo is coming and try to do a thing or two here and there, but every time he's not there, there's a gap. And I think he's just gotten into his own with the team. So hopefully he stays fit the whole tournament and is playing at his best so as to protect the back four. So those are the issues with our defense, and of course the goalkeeping department also hasn't been stable since Kennedy Mwene.
Hmm. And I want to look at the group now because for me, your group, Group F, is the most exciting group at this tournament. I mean, yes, we have Morocco, obviously semi-finalists at the World Cup, going to be one of the favorites for the tournament. But for me, it's the other three that interest me, that excite me, because we've got this very unique combination of three neighbors all playing against each other: Zambia, Tanzania, and DR Congo. Speaking with some Tanzanian colleagues, they're talking about, yeah, man, we're so excited to beat up on DR Congo and Zambia. These guys think they're our big brother. They want to beat us down every time. And I want to ask, from a Zambian perspective, is there this sense of rivalry and this sense of kind of desire to beat each other? Because especially, I think in recent years, obviously, the national teams have all been struggling, but if we look at the club football, Tanzania is starting to kind of surpass both Zambia and DR Congo. Even you're looking at the Zambia team, you have Platus Chama, Kennedy Musonda, both playing at Simba and Yanga. Previously Chama doing brilliantly and Musonda doing very well at Yanga now. What is the sense? Is there anticipation and excitement because you're in the same group as DR Congo and Tanzania?
Yes, there's a lot of that because I think with Tanzania, like you said, they've kind of surpassed us on the intercontinental club level with Yanga and Simba doing well. They beat Power Dynamos just recently. They also beat Ghana, Kretas Chama with that audacious flick to get the goal that won it. So there are all these issues, and then there's also been this side with the fans saying we want Kretas to be the one to score the winning goal against Tanzania. Like just I think
Imagine.
Kennedy Mponda, yeah. So there's just that excitement, and of course we want to show our authority that we are a bigger footballing nation than Tanzania. Obviously, that's what we want, but they've also been growing, and it's exciting. So it will be an exciting game against our neighbor, and again DRC, another neighbor. It will be exciting. From the 2012 squad, we had almost half of the team playing at TP Mazembe. So this is like a country which is like from Ndola, you can just drive into DR Congo. Um, so there's a lot of similarities between us, and of course, so the game also exciting. Also, a number of the Congolese players actually play their local league, their club football in Zambia. So there's all that relation between us and them. So it's going to be another exciting game. So both exciting games. There's a lot of anticipation because of the friendly rivalry. So it's like your brothers were separated for 90 minutes and then become brothers again after the game.
I think for me that's the best kind of rivalry. It's there's not too much hatred or there. That you're brothers. You're competing, and then you go back to loving on each other. And for me, looking at this group, obviously Tanzania are kind of seen as the outsiders. They don't have as much pedigree as yourselves in DR Congo. Morocco are going to be seen as the
The
big
favorite.
favorites, obviously. So for you guys, is it seen in Zambia essentially as a battle for second place with DR Congo? What is the sense, and how confident are people that you can get the better of both Tanzania and Congo?
Most of us are confident enough that we can get the better of DR Congo and Tanzania, but at the other half, we are thinking, oh, second place. But there's another half who thinks, since Morocco is such a big deal, this is where Zambia would shine to beat the big boys and
Mm,
get the top spot, which I'm a bit skeptical about personally. Morocco scare me, obviously, looking at the quality that they do have. But obviously, the one thing about our team is that most of the time when you think of them like this is they're not going to deliver, that's when they deliver. Like there's just something about them. It's like because even the coach was saying majority of the teams are going to face are going to be better than us, bigger than us on paper with better players. But so was Ivory Coast.
hmm
So it's one of those. So it's like 50-50. But I think we're going to progress out of the group. Basically, second, first or second doesn't matter. I think we're going to progress out of the group. That's what I feel. Like for me,
mm,
quarterfinal around there, it's okay for me since we've been out for 7-8 years. So if we reach quarterfinal,
yeah, of course.
whatever
And,
happens afterwards is fine.
yeah, and even tactically, I think from a tactical perspective, I think I put Zambia in a very similar position as I would say maybe like Burkina Faso is you're really well set up to play the big teams
Yeah.
because you want to play on the counter attack. You don't want to keep the ball. You want to be able to use the pace of that front three. And I think Morocco have shown that while they are an excellently coached team, they struggle to break down stubborn defenses. Even the most recent game against Tanzania down to 10 men. Morocco still only got the 2 goals, and one was I think deflected free kick. They don't look like they have the capacity to play through defenses. Now, obviously, that means Zambia's defense needs to be on top form when it comes to Morocco. But also, the other thing I think that we don't really pick up on is because of the format, coming second for you guys is actually a really good thing because unlike other second place teams, if you come second, you'll be playing, I think it's the runners up in Group B. You won't be playing a group winner. So even from this group, I think it's interesting because coming in second is the equivalent of coming first in other groups because you'll play another second place team, and it's I think Group B is kind of Egypt, Cape Verde, and I'm forgetting who's the first team in that group. Egypt, yeah. So of course Egypt are the favorites to get top that group, and then Ghana have not been a very good team if they come second. Otherwise, I think it's Cape Verde or Mozambique, both teams that Zambia would feel confident kind of beating in the round of 16. So I think quarterfinals is probably actually a really good shout. And I really appreciate you giving your time. We always finish our preview podcasts with a quick fire round of questions. So I'm going to hit you with some quick questions and some easier than others. So my first question is how far are Chipolopolo going to go at this tournament?
Quarterfinals or semifinals.
Quarterfinals. Okay, Aaron, I love
That's
the
realistic.
confidence. Coming back
That's
with a
realistic.
bang. Okay, and then who is going to win the AFCON?
Morocco or Nigeria. I think Nigeria
Nigeria.
have got like
Okay.
the best team on paper, and
hmm
Morocco have
And
got the best unit.
and if I had to twist your arm and you had to give me one of those, Nigeria or Morocco, which one is it going to be?
Go for Morocco.
hmm
They just
Okay.
seem like a well-oiled machine per se. Like they're just
hmm
like a solid team.
And then who is going to be the top scorer at this tournament?
Hatson Daka.
Hatsandaka. There you go. Yeah, I think you're the second person to say that. You're not the only one. So I'd say there's faith. There's hope.
This is his tournament.
I hope so. I hope so. And who is going to again get voted as the best player of the tournament, the player of the tournament?
I think top three Victor Osimhen, Mohamed Salah, or Achraf Hakimi?
Okay, and then again, I need you to narrow it down to one for me, Aaron. It's hard.
Hakimi.
Hakimi,
Since I'm
Ashraf
taking
Hakimi.
Morocco go all the way,
Yeah,
I'll go with
exactly.
Hakimi.
That makes sense. It makes sense. You got to double down. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I came into this conversation saying that Zambia is the team I'm most excited to watch, and I'm coming out of it even more excited. So I can't wait for that first game against Congo.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.